Okay, my guest today is the all-time leading rusher in the 99-year history of the Green Bay Packers, two-time national champion at Nebraska, four-time Pro Bowler, and the owner of the Green Bay Blizzard, Ahman Green. Joins me today. Ahman, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm not an owner of the Green Bay Blizzard anymore.
Well, we have it as you were the past owner.
Gotcha. All right.
It still counts anyway. So let's start with the Blizzard, actually. What made you want to own an arena football team?
The football side of it, just to be close to the players and then obviously learn on be in the upper management of the program, of knowing how the operations go and learning, because it was my first time actually doing anything like that, and obviously being an investor on top of that, but from a business standpoint, and then learning some operation side of it, and maybe see how I can help that team get better, basically.
Did it make you think to yourself that maybe you wanted to own an NFL franchise down the road?
Of course. And I say going into that, I think any person doing that type of, investment or time putting in will definitely cross your mind, especially when I came into the team at that time. The team was actually a pretty good team. They had made it to the playoffs consecutive years and actually once made it to the arena or indoor league football championship at that time. And since then, they kind of went up and down a roller coaster. But at that time, so of course, when you have a successful organization and then learn how the player operations go at it, bringing the guys in, you don't have a draft, so you got to mostly pick up free agents and make sure you piece them together and they have the right chemistry.
Talked about it earlier. You're the leading rusher in the Green Bay Packers' 99-year history. Yeah. What does that mean to you? I mean, this team has been around since the dawn of time, and they've had some great running backs in their history, but you are still the all-time leading rusher. Where does that rank for you as far as football accomplishments?
Football accomplishment is right, and it's in my top 5 because, for one of the main reasons why it's in my top 5, if not number 1, is because it was something that my dad, he was very proud of. He raised me, he coached me a little bit in football. Not directly, but indirectly. He was a football coach, and he coached offensive linemen. Obviously, I was a running back, but it was just the mentality of football that he taught me. And then being from Louisiana, where Jim Taylor was from, that was his idol as a kid, which I didn't find out until I became a Packer, because obviously, why I talk about, something like that, and not being a Packer, I was a Seahawk first, but finding that out, and as I edged closer, that's when he started, letting me know that was my childhood idol at football, and then my son is about to possibly break his record, and eventually I did. So it was, I say, for that moment right there, just knowing my dad, that was kind of his childhood guy, and to surpass his record and to do it for him, basically kind of do it for my dad was, I say, that warm and fuzzy feeling inside.
You're very notorious for being incredibly charitable. You run the Ahman Green Foundation. How important would you say it is for athletes to give back to their community and kind of do something that's bigger than the game of football?
I say it's very important because what we're doing as a job is very extraordinary, and for any pro athlete, not just football players, any pro athlete, any entertainer, singer, actor, anything like that. I think if they have the time, and if they really have the passion to do it, not just do it because somebody suggested, because they have the funds or they have the stardom to attract people to a cause. I say if they have the passion to do it, do it. And that's what got me to create my foundation in 2001, and it's been running since then, and then just doing different events, from bowling events to, I say my favorite that I do is my free football camp, because football, I say that's me, and I could give kids opportunity, because I know of when I was a kid as well, there were camps that were $200-300, and my mom, when I got the flyer in the mail, my mom and dad just kind of looked at me and it's like, take your football, go outside, play in the front yard with your buddies, and that was my football camp. But I say, given that the chance for kids to get professional coaching, myself and other NFL coaches and other NFL players that I know come help out in the summers in Green Bay to have a 3-4 day camp. And what I do also, I do it on the campus of University of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and so then the kids from middle school age or maybe elementary age, from age 7 all the way to 18. They get to kind of get that college experience right away to see if college is a place for them, or just kind of learn it, knowing that, this is what a dorm feels like, this is what being in the union feels like, and walking around campus, this is what this, is going to look like if I decide to go. And they kind of know that at an early age, so I get to give them that experience, right away.
So this boot camp is all about broadcasting and athletes becoming broadcasters, obviously, specifically football players.
Yes.
Why is Ahman Green the next big broadcaster?
Ahman Green is the next big broadcaster because I want to give the fans that information that I know, that I learned as a player. I believe sometimes when a commentator is in an event, if it's a game, if it's in studio, they sometimes lose, I say, the part where they could give that fan information and stuff. What I mean by when I say information is stuff that when I was playing running back for the Green Bay Packers or in the NFL or at Nebraska, explaining something out, so what that technique was that offensive lineman used to stop that rusher, or what the quarterback did to get that ball out and how he threw it from the feet up, making sure he had good balance and he was, feet were under his body, and or how the running back was able to get that ball in the end zone when he had to eventually run through 2 defenders to do that, but how he dropped his shoulder, and then after that is leg drive and having, the ball in good position where the ball doesn't get stripped out. So explaining those details, because that keeps the fan engaged into our game, into our sport, but then also, it didn't express, it keeps them coming back. Because then the next week, if they know I'm broadcasting a game or if I'm doing an in-studio show, they know, hey, I want to tune in to Ahman Green because he's taught me a lot of things the last couple of times he's been on air.
A lot of athletes that try to become broadcasters across all the major 4 sports, sometimes things just don't work out. They were a great athlete on the field. Maybe in the broadcast booth, that's not the case. Why is that different for you?
It's different for me because I'm bringing that same drive and that same effort that I put in my athletic ability that I'm doing in this area as well. So that was the question that popped up when what you said in the beginning, a lot about athletes trying to transition into the studio. And what I learned right away is, okay, I got to learn to articulate what I did athletically, physically on that football field. I played baseball growing up, I ran track, but now I got to now speak it. Instead of just do it, say, hey, hold on, let me show you this. Or, run around. No, I'm not running around all day in the studio showing fans how to hold the ball and run people over. No, I'm going to have to use my words, articulate it. Sometimes I speak fast, so I got to make sure I slow down to really explain everything. And I say governor, my tempo, at times. But it's because I'm excited. I'm explaining something to fans or to somebody in the studio that I know very well, but still got to have the professionalism to let them know I need to slow down so they didn't get it. And so that's the part that I say why I want to be one of the best or the best in the industry.
Talked about why you can be the next big broadcaster, but on the other side of things, what do you think is the biggest challenge stopping you from becoming a broadcaster?
I say what I've learned so far is one fact is because I was a pretty good running back. Because the myth out there is the fact that running backs or anybody outside of the quarterback position does not see the whole field. And obviously for me, I know that's wrong. I had to see the whole field when I got that ball, or even pre-snap before I got the ball handed to me, thrown to me, or if I saw the safety rotation where I see the free safety come into the box, then that tells me, okay, it's a blitz going on. I got to be ready where I got to look around, look at the D-line, the O-line, the linebackers to find out, okay, which side of this defense or the offense is the blitz coming from. So I had to see the whole field. I couldn't just be focused on me getting the ball. There were players and running backs I've heard through their career, they were like that. They were just focused on get that ball as a running back and just go. Don't pay attention to nothing else. But for me, coming into Green Bay and then being the way I was raised and taught that when you're on that football field, no matter what position, you're a football player. And be a running back, quarterback, defensive line, linebacker, you got to know everything on that field because then you know where you fit in and why you fit in. And if there's a breakdown somewhere, you know where to fix it or where you can, alleviate the problem if there's a breakdown. So knowing what I knew at running back, I had to help Brett a lot with some of the coverage pickups blitz pickups. And I would see it sometimes before him because as a quarterback, they're already doing a ton. And so for him, I would see what he didn't see. I'd be his last line of defense, kind of like a bulletproof Kevlar, and to protect him. And I saved his backside for a lot of years and a lot of reps that I'm proud of. And he definitely thanks me for it as well.
You obviously learned so much in your time in the NFL. What's one of the few things that you kind of learned that you can take from the field, I should say, into the broadcast booth? Because, you learned how to do a lot of stuff physically.
Yes.
But you're not going to be able to take that in the broadcast
Nope.
booth. So what did you learn on the field that you're going to be able to apply to the broadcast booth?
It's paying attention to detail. So the stuff that I learned through my NFL career, through my running back coaches, and through some of my head coaches, that is look at the details because eventually, physically, we get older. We slow down, we get hurt, and then we got to figure out how to still get it done at a high level. And when I figured what I was showed as a player, Edgar Bennett, Sylvester Crooms, Mike Sherman, Mike McCarthy taught me basically watch the film and then watch the film again and again and again. And you start seeing little nuances that you could get tips from the body position or the mannerisms of the defensive lineman to the linebacker to the free safety that'll give you an extra step on them, because then you know where they're going. And so paying attention to detail, I said that's the biggest thing that I have to do now in the studio. Go back and do the same thing I did, watch film, but then there's other outlets to get information, getting stats, knowing why, knowing percentages. Some of that's all part of it. It's not all of it having the numbers, but just having a good idea. But then going back to my old habit, watching a lot of film on players that I got to evaluate, or I got to know for a certain segment, make sure I know everything about them, where they come from, what coach they play for in high school, Little League, because then the more I know about them, then the more credibility I have with the fans out there listening.
Ahman, thanks for joining me, and of course, best of luck on this new journey for you.
All right, thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much.